I do agree that teaching morality, values, and to honing into the human experience is beyond valuable. In a world where we see that not just our children, but all of us are now standing on the other side of the screen. Like, human interaction is not what it used to be. It hasn't been for a very, very long time. And it's a reality that we face every single day. How do we, reconnect in an authentic way? How do we minimize how much screen time our children are getting? How do we minimize how much screen time that we're engaging in? We've all, for the most part, found ourselves in a space where we are engaged in social media or piece of technology that takes up so much time, to the point where we don't even go outside. Like, going outside, sitting in a park, or going for a walk is something that is, for a lot of people, is such a rarity now. Even though it's as simple as opening your door and literally moving your feet, right? Yeah, I mean, this is the truth. But when I talk about AI and its benefits and its advances and the things it can do for us, what scares me more is not that it's going to create a moral conundrum, that we're going to find ourselves sitting back and arguing the ethics of artificial intelligence. I mean, it's going to happen in some capacity, but I don't worry about it like being the big bad wolf that's in the room. Let me tell you what I worry about. I worry about tables that, as people of color, we don't find ourselves at. At least not in the way that we should. I'm thinking about spaces where decisions are being made for us economically that, at the end of the day, yes, some of us might find our way to those tables. Some of us might be able to sit at the leg of the table and catch some crumbs. And sometimes those crumbs are worth millions of dollars. But the space in which we're truly defining what these technologies will mean for us, other people are doing it for us. And that is my big fear. Right now, we're telling our children STEM, science, technology, engineering, STEM, science, technology, engineering, math careers, right? This is what we're telling our children. These are the jobs you have to go after. These are the skills you have to have. But we're not telling our kids to imagine, to think, to create. We're asking them to go after jobs, to be workers for other people's imaginations and other people's creations. Think about that. These science, technology, engineering jobs, which for the most part, for the most part, these jobs that we're asking our kids to really hone in on are not jobs that are technically physically, they're not necessarily physically oriented. These are jobs that require thinking, calculations, designing things so that low-wage people will actually build them. The person who is drilling that screw on a Boeing 757, I think that's one of the planes, right? It's not necessarily the person who designed the plane. Their job is just to make sure that screw is zip, 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 nice and tight. We're not asking our kids to be the one who is screwing that screw in. We're asking them to be the engineer, the one who designs the high-level jobs, right? But this is the thing that we're not thinking about. The potential of those design jobs, those creative jobs in science, technology, engineering, and math, being there in the next 5 to 10 years, very slim. Because artificial intelligence is here. What you're going to need now is that thinker, that human being who has the grand vision to now utilize artificial intelligence to now design the components, to now make sure that all the pieces that's needed for whatever that creation is done damn near perfectly, minimizing the need of having a team of 100 mathematicians. You don't need 100 mathematicians now. You need one person, maybe a small team of people who have the grand vision. But now they have an amazingly powerful tool that no longer does it have to be, Thomas Edison sitting in a lab for years trying to figure out the light bulb. If you had AI back then, AI would have said, listen, this is how you do it. Here are the materials you need. This is the exact amount of energy, or electricity you need to be able to power and create light. So now, this is what my fear is. If we're not adopting the technology, if we're not allowing our children to understand it, to use it, to be used to it, to be able to manipulate it, to start to create and envision things and say, now, AI, here are the parts. Let's do these calculations. Let's bring my vision to life. Then all they're going to be doing is going after jobs. The new menial jobs of the future. There's no longer would be, somebody might say, well, that driller is a union job and that job pays, 6-figure salary. But guess what? At one point in time, the first truck drivers, when we moved from horses and buggies, moving load, to the first people, the first few who drove lorries. I think that's what they call them in England, lorries, trucks, with bales of hay in the back and whatever, cotton or whatever was in the back there. We made pretty good money. You know why? There's only a few people who could drive those trucks. But not everybody can drive. Anyone can get a license. So now, what happens when the jobs that we're thinking and we're projecting for the future are now going to shift to being on a totem pole more menial because technology has made those jobs not as necessary. Robot arms can now do that drilling much faster and minimizing the risk to human life. So companies are going to do what? If I don't have to pay a human being to do this in, 3 months, and technology can have us get this done in 3 weeks. So what jobs are we asking our kids to move towards again? That's the real issue, moral issue. That is the real space in which we have to question values. And this is where we also have to redefine what does it mean to be human? And not only that, to maximize the human experience. So I do agree. AI, we have to be careful because of the moral implications in so many aspects that we don't know yet. The same way we have to do that with the internet, the same way we have to do with even the calculator. I remember when the calculator was being argued whether or not it was a good thing to have calculators in schools, because kids would lose the ability to think for themselves if they had to use calculators to do the math. And now it is mandated. Think about that. All right, y'all. Uche Njoku, Sneaker Principal, and I'll talk to y'all later.